is Esther. I am 24, from Nigeria. I have lived in Canada for about 10 years now, and I'm a peer leader for Get Sensible.
I'm Emily Jenkins, and the reason I'm here talking to you today is because of my role as an associate professor at the School of Nursing at the University of British Columbia, where I do research on young people and substance use.
Part of the work that I do and I enjoy doing is just creating safe spaces for folks to be able to feel comfortable in and feel like they have community to be around.
So for the last decade plus, I've been involved in leading research looking at how young people experience, talk about, and reduce harms associated with using a variety of substances, but largely a focus on cannabis.
My drug education growing up was non-existent. I didn't know anything about drugs. I didn't know anything about much of anything, and I knew that there was more to learn, but I also was like, okay, like I'm gonna move to Canada, everything will get better, like I'll learn. And then I moved to Canada and I was actually finally exposed to drugs, but I didn't learn anything, and I was kind of going based off of like what my parents told me, that like, oh yeah, like don't do drugs, or if you're not in a gang, or if you're not a criminal, and things like that.
The approach historically for navigating discussions with youth about substance use has focused on just say no, or what we would call an abstinence-based approach to substance use, in which we're aiming for there to be zero use of substances.
Literally no institution has taught me about weed or sex or anything that I need to know, like, and it was kind of like annoying that I kind of had to go out on my own and learn all these things so much later.
The harm associated with abstinence-based messaging, or a complete shutdown of conversation, which also happens, is that they didn't develop their own skills for effectively navigating substance use situations.
And I think it's even more stressful because I started to learn after I had an experience with cannabis, and it was bad, and which made it really difficult, because now I said, okay, I don't know anything about this, but I'm gonna just try it just because I want to learn by experience. But then it was a bad experience, which I actually probably could have avoided if I had some education. If I knew how edibles worked, I wouldn't have taken like 8. Like if I knew that was a thing, and yeah, so there's literally no education at all on drugs growing up.
And so I think in terms of how to best have these conversations, I don't think there's a kind of a one-size-fits-all approach that really works, but to start, I think, by recognizing how our perspectives about substance use are shaped by the broader social, political, economic, geographical contexts in which we live, and to do some exploring into best informing ourselves on current evidence around cannabis use and how to support young people in our lives, and to approach it with a curiosity if we can, and try and be open to what emerges from those conversations, and a willingness to acknowledge where we may be uncomfortable, where things may kind of come at us in a way that makes us worry, makes us scared, but that acknowledging that, I think, and being truthful and honest and transparent, I think just opens so many doors for building relationship where we can trust each other and navigate the complexities of substance use in the best ways possible.
A big part of education is to allow folks to not feel like, first of all, no question is wrong, or because there's so many things that we have to learn, so many things that people want to learn, but maybe feel shy or feel uncomfortable trying to actively say, I want to ask about this, because of the way that the topics have been perceived as like negative and things like that. So it's really important that we have spaces where, as much as we're educating, we're creating it in a way that's community-based and just very non-judgmental, very open, and just very welcoming. I think welcoming is the biggest part of education, and a lot of people don't get that, but it's super, super important.